This brain hacking marketing strategy is going to be the secret key that you'll be able to use to blow up your personal brand as an online coach. By watching this training, you're going to go from being just another coach in a busy red ocean to being the dominant force in your niche. And this brain hacking branding strategy that we're about to see is the secret sauce behind the meteoric rise of figures like Andrew Tate, Iman Gadzhi, and Jack Hopkins. But further, by implementing this almost evil marketing strategy, you're going to be able to go from just another coach in a sea of competitors, a red ocean. You're going to be able to stand out as the dominant force in the market.
Okay, so jumping into it right now, guys, this is the genius strategy that actually took Marlboro from a failing brand to the #1 cigarette in the world inside of 12 months. And by implementing this in your branding, you're going to be able to start magnetizing ideal clients. And by copying this, you're going to be able to create your own mini mass movement around your personal brand, just as figures like Andrew Tate have done. Now, in a moment, we're going to go into examples like Marlboro's infamous Marlboro Man campaign. But just one thing that you've got to understand is that figures like Andrew Tate, figures like Jack Hopkins, figures like Robert Oliver have copied the proven strategies that have been implemented in the past by some of the most successful advertising campaigns in history, and they've applied that in the social media world. And in this training, we're going to be going through an exact step-by-step process that you'll be able to implement by the end of this training to mirror that and achieve that for yourself. So my friend, buckle up, because this is about to be a powerful training on personal branding and how you can stand out from all the competitors. So jumping right into it, this right here was the Marlboro Man campaign. This was launched by Marlboro back in the 1950s and ran all the way up to the 90s. And this one advertising campaign took Marlboro from the 20th most popular brand in America to the #1 globally. And you can see here within a single period of 2 years, sales went up 300%. And that's attributed to the success of this revolutionary ad campaign. Now, what's so special about this ad?
A dry blanket, hot cup of coffee, a good smoke. The simple things mean a lot out here in Marlboro country.
So the thing that should stand out first and foremost in this ad is that it does not sell the product. There's actually zero mention of the quality tobacco, of its smooth texture or taste. There's zero mention of the product and its features or its advantages over competitors. Rather, this ad is nostalgic. It's trying to throw back to a time where men were men. Rather than selling a product, it's selling a lifestyle. And as a result, it's getting the viewer to associate the brand to certain values like strength, like independence, autonomy, vigor, etc. Okay? These are values that Marlboro knows that their target audience desires for themselves. And Marlboro know that their target audience wants to be that. Now, this was one of the earliest examples of lifestyle marketing. Whether you've heard of that term in the past or not, you have absolutely experienced it and you've most likely bought because of it. If you think of every designer brand, every perfume, every aftershave ad, there's very little mention of the quality of the product itself. Rather, it's selling you the lifestyle. And this is lifestyle marketing 101. And further, people like Andrew Tate, people like Iman Gadzhi, Robert Oliver, when you see their content, what are they doing? You see them closing deals, hitting pads, training martial arts, working out, collecting cash, and driving fast cars. These all signal strength, independence, abundance, and success to their target audience. And what does that target audience want to feel for themselves? Exactly those things. And this is the power of lifestyle marketing. Other famous examples are going to be your Red Bull or your GoPro ads, where there's going to be a skier flying down a hill or a guy jumping out of a plane with a wingsuit on. What does that have to do with an energy drink or with a special camera? Absolutely nothing. They're purely trying to sell you the lifestyle. Lifestyle marketing 101. Rather than selling the product, you're selling the lifestyle. You want to think about the values and the feelings that the audience actually wants for themselves, and then think about how you can actually visually communicate that through your content, through your branding, in your stories and in your reels. So lesson 1 is don't sell product, instead tap into desire. Now, if you don't know who Eugene Schwartz is, I'll tell you who that is in a moment, but you gotta know that name. He's one of the most influential marketers to ever exist. And Eugene Schwartz said that we, as a marketer, we can't create demand or a desire for our product. We can only tap into the existing innate human desires that are already inside our audience. Okay, so think about this. The human brain evolved millions of years ago, as did our dopamine feedback and reward systems. As a result, the things that really drive us, it's not a desire for a fancy watch or a sports car. The things that really drive us are primal. They're tribal drivers. It's things like status, sex appeal, social positioning that are being sold to you by luxury brands. So Rolex don't sell watches. What they actually sell is status. And status is one of those innate human desires. And if we look here at some of these different ads,
Cool Water Intense, the new fragrance for him, Davidoff.
And for her.
The new fragrance for men by Paco Rabanne.
So in these ads, for example, there's zero mention of the product itself. Rather, we see images of this guy who we associate with as the viewer. We see that he's desired by women. We see that he's living an exhilarating lifestyle. He's in a foreign country. He's jumping from a cliff. There's blue waters. It's the lifestyle that we all as men inherently desire. And this is what brands like Paco Rabanne tap into. And this is what Marlboro did back in the day with the Marlboro Man campaign. So coming back to this, why was this ad campaign from Marlboro so successful? So the cultural context here is extremely important. These ads ran from the 1950s all the way through to the 1990s. And this period of time obviously saw massive cultural shifts. This was a period of feminism, of female empowerment, and women's role in the home and the workplace changed forever. But it wasn't only women's positions that changed, it was also what it meant to be a man. And with that cultural context changing, it created doubt and uncertainty in the minds of men. And this is what Marlboro recognized and tapped into in their branding. They're appealing to these deeper desires rather than pushing product or selling features. So what did these ads appeal to? They appeal to status, to power and strength, to independence and autonomy, to capability. And when we look at examples of what I call brain hacking branding, we see this play out perfectly. In fact, we can look at two examples, one from a beer commercial and another from the famous influencer Iman Gadzhi, to see how influencers are taking pages out of the books of some of the most successful ad campaigns in history. In this ad right here, we're looking at the famous Dos Equis ad with the most interesting man in the world.
He is the life of parties he has never attended. If he were to punch you in the face, you would have to fight off the strong urge to thank him. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. Stay thirsty, my friends.
And when you see this advertisement, you see that they're clearly painting a picture of this male ideal. This guy is cultured, he's multilingual, he's well-traveled, he's well-read. He has all these different skills and experiences. And now when we look at a piece of content from Imran Gadzhi,
I fini brutta fanno I conferenti.
we're seeing that there's the same appeal to these feelings. It's cultured, it's freedom, it's life on my terms, being a man of the world. Now, this is what lifestyle marketing is all about, but we're going to take this a step further by implementing brain hacking branding. Your tools to do this are going to be all of your content platforms. It's going to be your Instagram stories and having lifestyle edits in your IG reels. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is to show, don't tell. If you're like me and you come from a sales background, or you're fascinated by psychology and by copywriting and these sorts of things, you likely over focus on the impact of words and under focus the impact of image and branding. But like the old adage says, sometimes a picture really is worth 1,000 words. And that's the power of visual communication. So by implementing this brain hacking branding strategy, you're going to be able to propel your personal brand as you position yourself as the real deal, walking the walk. You're going to give your audience a taste of the lifestyle. You're going to give them a taste of the feelings that they really desire for themselves. And this is going to act as further proof, adding to your validity of your marketing campaigns. Now, step one is identifying what are these desires that the prospect actually has for themselves. What are these deep emotional drivers? Right here, we have a list of the 16 fundamental human desires. Now, this isn't my own list. This is from a very well-known psychologist and therapist, but you're going to be able to leverage these. You're going to be able to read through these and see that certain desires are clearly most poignant for your target audience. So for my target audience, what they really desire, it's not just to hit 10 or 30K months in their business. It's really to feel all the feelings that they associate with that outcome. So it's to feel honor. It's to feel accepted. It's to feel independence. It's to feel like their life now has order. It's to feel social status. Okay, so these are the primary drivers for my target audience, for example. You need to think about this for yourself. And then step two is to think about how can you actually communicate this in your content and in your branding. Now, you know that there's these desired feelings that you want to elicit in your prospect and have them associate with your brand. Just like Imran Gadzhi or Robert Oliver or Jack Hopkins, they're going to be sparring in their Instagram stories. They're going to be training martial arts and working out because they realize not only is it important for themselves, I'm sure, but they also realize that these are things that their audience aspires to for themselves. So by communicating this in your branding, we create that deeper connection. Beyond just a business tool or a particular product, we're creating a deep personality to personality connection with the viewer. So think about gurus and influencers that you do admire, whose content that you do watch. Think about Iman, think about Tate, Robert Oliver, and Jack Hopkins. What feelings are they actually invoking in this content? So clearly this is communicating feelings of independence, of status, of authority, of freedom, autonomy, capability, belonging, and excitement, of exhilaration. And this is communicated, as we saw, by like making money, closing deals, Stripe dashboards, combat sports, having women around, cigars, travel, brotherhood, and guns. These are all things that the target audience wants to pull into their own life. And these are getting them to feel and associate these feelings to your brand. So how can you actually implement this and make it real and authentic rather than just playing up for the camera, rather than being a sleazy fake hack. Okay, so number one is to know yourself, actually know your purpose, know your driving mission. What is this purpose that you're actually moving towards in your life? The better you know yourself, the more you're going to be able to communicate your values and your principles in your content. Number two is doing stuff you're actually passionate around. Like, be a well-rounded person. Have passions and interests outside of the business or your field of mastery. We don't want to just be one-dimensional. We want to have breadth. We want to be well-rounded. So things like music, martial arts, surfing, history, hiking, whatever it is that you're passionate about, start incorporating that into your marketing. Start communicating this in your branding. Further, when I work with clients, and if you're a client of mine, you're watching this, you're going to want to go through the identity forging exercise for 3 to 5 years, the 7 logical levels, and the wheel of life. Because the better you understand yourself, the better you understand your mission, your identities, your values, your skills, behaviors, and your environment, and the better you start aligning each of these things with your purpose, the more powerfully you can communicate this through your content and in your branding. And then it's simply a matter of documenting. As you start developing these skills or pursuing these different passions and engaging in these activities, show this in your content, show this in your stories. So realize that there's already certain behaviors and activities that are high status to your target audience. And these are things that you might take for granted. It could be that you're a dating coach and you're always out on dates with women. These are things that if you communicate that in your content, it communicates excitement. It communicates high value. It communicates high status. So by showing this in your stories, you're going to be received in that way by your prospects. So you've probably seen this training of mine already, all about how Andrew Tate built a cult-like following. But zooming in right here under the charismatic leader section, you can see lifestyle or achievements that the prospect desires for themselves. So this is what it's all about. Think about the character traits of you 2.0. For myself, this is that I practice extreme ownership. I'm a leader. I lead by example. I'm proactive. I'm a powerful speaker, a strategic thinker. I operate by win-win. So I want to communicate these values to my audience. I want to communicate these deeper desires, right? The desire for novelty, for exhilaration, to feel powerful, to feel momentum and like we're leveling up, to feel accomplished and to prove oneself, right? I know that these are driving motivations for my target audience. So I'm going to communicate this to them by demonstrating the following. For me, it's the 3 S's: that serve, stack, and scrap. Serve is all about serving clients, showing client wins, etc. Stack is closing clients myself and growing this business myself. And then we have scrap, which is everything to do with martial arts. So it's hitting pads, it's training, it's gym work, it's road work, all that sort of stuff. Because again, these are the things that are going to communicate these drivers for my audience. So my friend, the practical steps for you to take is to spend time and think about, okay, maybe you sell a dating offer, or maybe you sell a B2B offer, maybe you sell a relationship offer. What you want to think about is, what are those deep emotional drivers for your ideal clients? And how can you communicate that in your branding? And again, this lifestyle marketing or brain hacking branding strategy, not only is it the thing that took Marlboro from the gutter to the #1 brand in the world, it's also been a key strategy for figures like Andrew Tate, Iman Gadzhi, and countless other influencers. So if you implement this effectively yourself, this is going to be the master stroke that makes everything else in your business work more effectively. So whether you're a coach with 10,000 followers or barely a few hundred, know that the strategies we've covered in this video, but also elsewhere on my YouTube channel, have been the keys that have allowed clients of mine like Ollie, who barely has 1,000 followers. These have been the key pieces that have allowed him to hit 10K months, while other clients of mine like Matt Enns and Anton have hit 40 and 70K months within 10 weeks of implementing these strategies. So if you want to be walked through this step-by-step battle plan to be able to implement this yourself, hit the link below in the description and get onto a one-to-one strategy session with me personally, where we're going to look at exactly where you are, what bottlenecks you're facing, and exactly how to achieve these goals that you have in your business. So click that link below, get onto a call, and we'll map out the step-by-step to get you to your business goals as soon as possible. Peace, my friend. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.